What's going on, everyone? It's been a while. I know my buddy Perry
It's
couldn't meet one week. I couldn't meet last week, and here we are.
all
We're
good.
in. Hey, it is what it is. Life gets in the way, but we try to
Yeah.
meet up when and where we can. And today it's an interesting topic. I would say. I mean, shoot, I think I say that every single time, but this one really hits home for me. Um, it may be a little emo, a little touchy feely, but I think the message that I would like to convey and express is an important one. So it kind of started before. So last week, me and the kids had a week off, and the wife had a week off, so we took a little road trip and everything like that. And you know, um, there's been a lot of things going on, obviously, with the pandemic, with all this, elderly Asian type of violence happening here in the Bay Area. I'm sure it's happening elsewhere as well, but obviously, being from the Bay Area, it definitely kind of gets you into that whole mindset. But you know, since we took that week off and did the little road trip, I think um, it made me realize, even more so now, you know, experiences that you have with your with your family, with your growing kids and everything like that is, um, to be honest, like for me, it feels like it's way more important than material things. And hear me out. And the reason why I say that is because, I never saw my kids as like really outdoorsy. They like to kind of chill out in the house and go on their devices, watch TV and everything like that. But when we went on this road trip, and we went to Vegas. We drove to Vegas, for the week, and we visited some really cool parks, like real national parks and everything. And
Oh,
yeah, you went to Red Rock, the Valley of Fire, Zion, and the kids, I was so surprised they actually enjoy it so much. And then we saw like all these like rock structures, formations, and petroglyphs, caves, and everything. And the thing that really got to me was that throughout the whole time, the only thing they really asked for was maybe the iPad or the phone, right? Which, natural, it's a long drive, but they didn't ask for anything else. Like, oh, daddy, can I have a toy? Can I have this? Can I have that? No, they were just kind of like, just like me and Luann, we were pretty much just awestruck at like the gigantic nature of everything. Um, yeah, they loved it. And the one thing that, when I asked the girls, like, what did you like the most about our trip? It wasn't, oh, we went to go play this, went to go play that, but the petroglyphs. It was that experience. They saw these drawings on the carvings in the wall and everything. And I was like, that's actually really cool, because that was the first time in my life that actually ever seen those sorts of things, like, with my own eye. And it kind of got to me thinking, like, dude, this is awesome. The girls actually enjoy this. They're entertaining me and Luann to actually go do these things. And yeah, I guess, there's a lot of tangents that you can take with this. And the one tangent that I'm really going to take this on is just, like really taking a step back and thinking about truly what's the most important thing in your life. Now I'll probably shut up right now. I want you to kind of comment, and then I'll take it into like
that's okay.
no, but I mean, I'll take it into like a completely different direction, right? Because it kind of involves a similar thing. Because yeah, I'm not gonna go there, but I do want you to comment and just kind of give your thoughts on that and everything.
I mean, yeah, like I think it's really important to have and always have the strong why, right?
Yeah.
And our families. I mean, granted, like everyone who has a family, especially with younger kids like us, they're gonna be our why, a really strong why for now, right? And that's not gonna go away at any time soon. It's always good to have that, but I also think that doing things like that is kind of like you're probably reliving things that you couldn't do when you were a kid, because that's all I think about too, is like, what can I do with my kids that I didn't get a chance to do when I was little, or even the great parts of the things that I did when I was little. I want them to experience that too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just natural, I think, for us to, you know, want to do things with our kids, you know, in a way that we never got to do it. And then even better is that we get to experience it all new at once. Like, oh man, like, you know, we've never been there and stuff like that. And so it's always really important to always have your why in place. But you got, I like to be realistic about it, you know, which is, yes, everyone, I guarantee you, everyone that wants to or can would drop everything in the drop of a hat just to spend time with their family and go out and do things, you know, like experience things, right? Like if you could, and no money was not a problem, or time was not a problem, then yeah, we totally would. I mean, I know I would bring my kids everywhere, right? But the reality of it is, you know, we need to work for now, to sustain all of that, you know, to sustain our goals. Like, so let's be realistic. So, you know, it's as much as we want to flood their lives and our lives with memories and experiences, so that when they grow up, they can look back and be like, man, when Dad took us here, I had so much fun, you know, like that. Like, like we have to be realistic, and it's okay to sneak in little like weeks here and there, a couple of days here and there,
for sure,
like drops in a bucket, right, of experiences, because they're still going to remember that. So for us as parents, you know, we always have to keep that in mind, that like, yes, we may be workhorses and we do what we need to do to, you know, provide a roof over our heads, provide food on the table, to pay for a lot of things, right? But, you know, whenever we have a chance and we have free time, instead of thinking like, I need a break from work, and that, which also most parents say means that I kind of need a break from you as kids. We should also want to hang out with our kids, you know? So it's really important that we always keep that in mind. And so what you did that week with your family is awesome. I mean, they're probably going to remember it. They're probably still talking about it, you know, now. And it's a precious thing, because like you can't take those back, for sure. You know?
I mean, I can't agree more. You know, obviously the ability to kind of just take a step back and just really not be so inundated with with everything, right? Everything that's going on and everything, right? And the moments, however frequently or less frequent or whatever, I think the fact is that just having those experiences with your kids when you can, I think those are definitely like really precious moments, for sure. And for sure, I mean, even to this, like now this week, I mean, I know we just got back like last Friday, but they're still talking about making a book and all that kind of stuff, which is great, you know. But I know it's not possible for everyone. I know it's not necessarily it should be a priority, but it shouldn't be the number one thing that you do. Obviously, you know, you got to make sure that everything in your household is taken care of before you kind of, go on these types of trips and everything. Totally agree, and it's, I think in an ideal world, you would always kind of think, I wish I could do more. I wish I can do this, I wish I can do that and everything, but I think you're completely right. You gotta be realistic, but I think to kind of, it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, we're going to Target. Great. Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, can I have that? You know what I mean? It's like, you can't always say yes, right? That's the kind of mature stuff I'm talking, right? Yeah. Because like, well, you don't really need all that. You have all this other stuff. Kids won't know that. They won't understand that, right? But I mean, shoot, if it's an experience, I'll give you that any single day. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the draw. But on top of that, something happened recently. Actually, it's still ongoing right now. Where, and I know I made a reference to this hitting home. To be honest, like I get a little bit like emotional, like really thinking about this kind of situation where, this goes for anyone, right? And I know a lot of people, you and I included, have lost people throughout our lives. And, every single time that happens, you definitely take a step back, reflect, and just kind of think about, obviously, what your priorities are, what's the most important thing in your lives and everything like that. And so something like that is happening right now, where a close family member has to make a decision collectively with her family and everything to kind of determine, what to do with a loved one, right? And I think it's such a gut-wrenching thing to do and to think about, because though I wasn't there to make that decision for my mother-in-law, my wife and her brother had to. And it's such a tough decision, because there's a lot of selfish reasons why you don't want to, put an individual on like comfort care. And comfort care is essentially just making sure that they're comfortable before they actually kind of get to that point where that's it. Um, it Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations where, like with my grandparents, where they actually, flatlined when I was in the room and everything too. And I know all too well how that feels. But having to make that decision to essentially effectively pull the plug, it kind of you reflect, you think about what's important, you think about what the priorities are in your life, and you hope and pray that you don't have to do or make these kind of decisions. But in your lifetime, it's inevitable. You're going to have to do it. So I'm not saying YOLO everything in your life. I'm just saying, fuck, what the hell, are we really doing? Like, are we living our best lives? Maybe, maybe not. Can we be doing better? Fuck yeah, there's no doubt about it. But I think there are going to be times where we have to take a step back and really just evaluate everything that we're doing, because sooner or later it's going to be too late.
Well, I mean, as we get older, so is everyone around us, and the people that have been older around us, our parents, our uncles, our aunts, and whatever, are just getting that much older than as we are getting older. So the possibility of death becomes more clear as we age, not only for ourselves, but especially for them. And I'm sure at their age, they probably knew at a point too, or like, my body can't take much more, or my mind can't sustain. And, they would probably start to reevaluate things too, things that we're talking about right now, right?
Yep.
Maybe,
yep.
Some regrets, I wish I would have took the time to go spend with my kids more, took the time to see my family more, or whatever, took the time to go travel more. And I think that is a natural thing. Hopefully, if we're lucky enough, by the time we reach that stage, we can say to ourselves, and I believe most people probably haven't, because they're just normal people trying to get by every day. Well, we could say to ourselves, man, like, I did a lot in my life, like,
right.
I helped a lot of people. I'm satisfied or happy, but any way you spin it, it's gonna hurt for the family that's around that person.
Yep.
And for them, to make that decision, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, who wants to say say without any hesitation, yeah,
do it.
Like, yeah, do it. Like, no one wants to.
Yeah.
But I think about this a lot too. I think about death a lot, not in a morbid way, but more like in a realistic, like, I mean, that's one thing for sure, right? Death is imminent. That's the one thing that will happen to all of us eventually, right? And I like to think about, like, if I was on my deathbed and let's say I was suffering, like, let me make the call. As much as it'll hurt you, as my kids or my family, to like, this is my final dying wish, right? And if I'm suffering, and I'm literally telling you, like, I can't take it, like, I'm gonna miss seeing you guys and everything like that. But at this point, like, I can't trust my mind, I can't trust my eyes, I can't trust my body. To me, this is me, I would not want to be like, lack of a better word, like a vegetable in that state. I would hope that, like, I would be coherent enough to let my family know and the friends around me and say, I think it's I think it's my time, you know. But but if if you don't have that capability of doing that, I I don't know. Hopefully, I like to think maybe my backup plan is like I've written something down, I've recorded something, or whatever. It's hard to say because we're not at that stage.
We're not there yet, right?
But it's going to be hard for everyone in that situation, regardless. And it's knowing the inevitable is tough for everyone, and I think that's really where the grieving starts, is knowing that like, well, we won't be able to see each other again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the hardest part, for sure. Just that whole grieving part of it, right? And the crazy thing is that like as human beings, we always want to be in control of a situation. We always want to kind of dictate what our path is going to be in our lives and everything like that, right? And we hope and pray that we can help out our kids and everything as we get older and everything. But man, when you get to a point where the signs are pointing towards a direction that obviously is not favorable, right, for yourself and maybe everyone else, and you kind of had to make that decision. You know what, I don't want to be a burden. I've lived my life enough to the point where I'm okay, with just giving my goodbyes. I think I'm of the same mindset where I'm like, I know that I've done whatever I can to live the life that I want to live in the best way that I can. There's nothing more that I can do for myself. And if I'm going to live and firmly, like almost like nearly 100% depend on someone else to like take care of me, like I won't be able to walk, I won't be able to go use the bathroom on my own, I can't even eat by myself. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. It's a very sad thing. Like I said, that's a grieving process, right? You have to learn to understand that this individual, however good or bad their life was, they lived it, right? And it's now time to, as hard as it is, and I know how hard it is because I've been through it. You have to let them go. You have to let them, go where they need to go, because everyone has a certain expiration date. As sad as it sounds, we all have our own time when it's going to go. We don't know. Is it going to be next 5 minutes, next hour, next week, next month? We don't know. But I guess the message that I really wanted to make sure to kind of help convey is that, like, and I constantly think about this every single day, is that, like, for instance, like if I get mad at my kids, was it worth it? You take a step back, maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe I was just not in the right frame of mind and I just kind of lashed out on them. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, did I need to do that? Maybe not, but is that mindset at that given time? And obviously all this stuff that I'm saying is always easier said than done, right? But I think it needs to be said, because you kind of need to level set, and kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to try to live my life without any stress or any of these things that will get me down in it, everything, right? Just learn to appreciate everything, as bad as your situation is or as good as your situation is, because at any moment in time it can go, or it can be taken away too.
That is the reality, and that's not a bad way to live, but it is a choice,
yes.
to live. And me, I look at the cup half full pretty much, almost all the time, right? And so I always try to think of the positive of every situation, regardless of what it is, even death, even me yelling at my kids, like, we're not perfect, but we can always correct that, like, I mean, I don't think you need to beat yourself up about like if you snapped at your kid, excuse me, and you felt bad about it after, it's okay to feel bad and then correct it. Be like, hey, like, Daddy, sorry, like, I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. I mean, like, those things can be harbored, right, and can be corrected. So you don't need to beat yourself up about it badly. But the metaphor of choosing to see your life differently and seeing it as being half full instead of half empty. It's your choice to do that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it will change a lot of things. It would take like what you feel that you hold with you all the time off of you, and then you can really start enjoying what's around you, right? And be in the present. And I know that because I was in a very dark place for a long time.
Yeah.
Before with happened around death in my family, happened around life changing, altering situations with like work and also stress and when you're in those moments, like you're just thinking like, man, like I really don't need to like I hated the world at that point, right? I didn't see any purpose of what I did, and I couldn't see it because I was so drowned in my own I would say like frustration and anger. But you can always get out of it, it's gonna take a lot of work. I'm not saying that you're in that state, but I'm saying that in general, like the way you live your life and the way you do anything is your choice, and you can literally affect the people around you just like a drop in the water, So once you change your position on how you view things, and it'll affect your family first directly, and maybe it'll get them out of, if they're in a funk, maybe it'll get them out of a funk, and that's okay, I mean, and you can do this at any time. You can do it at this age, you can do it in 20 years, whatever, it's up to you, right? Like, and we have full control over our emotions and our minds, and but with the understanding that there are things in life that will happen regardless, like death, right? And like raising a family, since we have one, that like, I mean, it's not like we can get away from them, No, not
right? At all. I mean, so. As much as you want to sometimes, but yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's all it is a mindset change, with some correction and everything. But like, if you're really down in the dumps with your situation, then dude, you are your own savior. You can actually go through and actually make adjustments and changes. Like, hey, I don't like my job. Well, shit, go do something to get yourself a better job, get yourself in a better mindset and everything. And that's the thing too, right? I just want people to understand that it's not the end of the world if you, like, I don't know, lost your phone, got a flat tire, got your car stolen, whatever. It's not the end of the world, right? You can always do things to help, get yourself in a better position, right? So there's always a silver lining, right? And I forget which song it was, but it was always like, any day is a good day if you're above ground and not 6 feet under, right? And so,
like a Cash line, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I forget which song it was. Might be a Pitbull song. I don't know.
Pitbull, Johnny Cash to Pitbull. Okay.
Yeah, or whatever. I just listened. It was like that I think that Pitbull song with Neo. Something about New Year.
Yeah.
Like that. He says something.
I can hear it. I don't know the song, but
yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, hey, today was a crappy day. Fine. Wake up tomorrow. You're still breathing. You still have 2 feet. You can still walk. You do everything. Change it up. Don't be so down in the dumps. I mean, I this sounds like a deja vu type of thing, to be honest. But for the most part, your life is your life. You have the power to change and control how things happen. Everything else that you can't control, like the government or the weather or whatever, hey, it is what it is. But you control you control what you can do to make you, yourself, and maybe even your family and friends to live a better life.
Yeah, man, that's it. I mean, preach. Like, don't let the negative stuff or the bad stuff or whatever it is that's pulling you down keep you down. Acknowledge it. It happened. Deal with it and learn from it, and then keep on moving. That's kind of like the only way to get out of it and still keep on progressing. It's
right.
You're not in denial and saying that like, no, this ain't gonna happen. Like I'm not gonna get this way. Let's be real about it. Like, life's not perfect. And life's not fair. Like life doesn't owe us anything. It is what it is. But right. we can change the way we carry ourselves, and we can change the way we react to things, right? And that's all within our control.
That is totally in your control. I mean, you know what? All the thing that really matters is everything like within. Um, I think it's actually kind of interesting too. That just reminded me of Steph Curry. He has a tattoo on his arm right here, right? It's the greater than and less than sign with a little dot. And the meaning around that is it doesn't matter what else is out here. Whatever, the only thing that matters is what's within, and that's you, right? Everyone is going through something, right? Someone cuts you off, they're probably having a bad day. Let it go, right? Move on to the next thing. And so I guess that's ultimately what kind of message I actually wanted to really make sure to put out there. Just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you have a bad life. So
yeah, it's just a bad day. It's just a bad time. It's not a bad life. You know, I've said that to you before. You know, over another conversation.
Exactly. Yep.
And this period right now, what's going on with you and the family, not your immediate family, but your family, your relative. I mean, it's just a bad time right now.
Yep.
It's good to acknowledge it and soak it in, but you kind of deal with it and you learn from it, and like you said, it's one of those moments where it made you reflect on your own life and your own time with things, and then hopefully you can maybe use this as a catalyst or
other things
like this for other things, right? I mean, if it's not for situations like this or other things, we'd be all boring ass people. Like these things shape our lives.
Yep. I could not agree more. And it's just I wouldn't even call it phase. It's just the factor of marriage. That's just life. You deal with it, you move on, and then figure out what the next thing is going to be. But if you dwell on it for years and years and years, you get too consumed by it, and it's not healthy. But I mean, that's it's just gonna take time. That's all it is. It's just time.
I mean, like I said, this is like probably the beginning of the grieving. Even though like nothing's happened yet. It's just like being in this state. It hurts. And it's normal, man. Like everything that you're feeling for your family member, it's all normal. It's just, I'm not telling you to get over it. I actually don't want you to get over it. I don't think it's healthy that you get over it like right away.
No, it's just like a breakup, right? Like if the next day you're already seeing someone else, you're not grieving, you're not dealing with it, right? So, in time, like time will tell. That's pretty much all I had. So
it's okay. I mean, just be a I think another thing that probably you didn't say, but you implied, it was just like be appreciative of what we have, right? More so now once you start to hear things like this, and make those adjustments when you can. No one's faulting you for not being the dad that like it isn't there for the kids all the time, or isn't there to bring them to places and stuff like that. So like it's we're all just trying to get by, man, and and you're doing a good job at it. You got raised like great kids. They love hanging out with you. There's so much to look forward to later on, and let's just make the most of what we have.
Yep, I couldn't agree more, and thank you for the praise. I mean, likewise for you as well, man. I think we're all trying our best, but some days are bad, some days are good. Just roll with the punches, But other than that, I mean, everyone that's listening or will listen or whatever, we're here to offer support, talk about anything. If you guys have any comments, feel free to drop it down, and we will definitely answer it. And shoot, maybe you can be a guest on the talk at some point. But other than that, have a good weekend. I know it's hot out. At least anyone in the Bay, it's good weather right now. So try to get some sun, get out, be safe and distance. And hopefully if you could get the vaccine, get it. Let's get normal.
Yeah, please.
Peace.
All right.
Later. Bye.
Bye.